Okay. All right. So, doing another kick video here. This one is the back kick, sometimes called a back piercing kick. And if you're doing it with a spin, it'd be called a spinning back kick or a turning back kick. There are a bunch of names. But in Taekwondo, there is a lot of emphasis on this kick, at least at the schools I've happened to train at, especially my first school. It can be very simple, but basically it's called a back kick because there's a rearward motion with it. I can do one without a turn. If there's a guy behind me, I can just pick my leg up and throw it back and just hit somebody back there. But more of the training tends, in my experience, to be focused in class on the turning version. If you're sparring, chances are that's the one that you're going to do. It's also one that looks cooler and often hits harder if you get a good turn with it. So that's what I'm going to show. I'll show both, but that's the one that I'm going to focus on with more time. But anyway, a back kick I think is also a good, in terms of time-wise, fitting it in here because it borrows some elements from other kicks that I've already talked about. A little bit from the side kick, a little bit from the same turn of the spinning heel kick that I hinted at, or the spinning hook kick. And I'll go in more detail on those later when I have a better place to do a recording and where I have more space. But basically, the back kick, if I do the spinning version, I'm going to throw it at the camera. It's going to look something like this. If you see my feet, my front leg is going to slide across my body a little bit. Doesn't have to, but I find it works better to slide it across a little bit so my feet are kind of close together, not really wide. Comes across, keep my hands up, I'm going to turn my hips. As I turn my hips away, my head's going to come and look over my rear shoulder. So I'm going to look like this. So if I'm turning to my right, I look over my right shoulder. Here, I don't throw the kick until, at least in my peripheral vision, I can see where I'm kicking. Coming around, I pick this leg up that I'm kicking with as though I'm going to do a front kick to the back. I just pick this up, and then I throw the kick with this foot, hitting with my heel. So I'm going to throw this back toward the camera here, like so. Again, if I can throw it straight here, slide a little bit, enough so I can get my hips to start to turn. Sliding across, turn the hips, turn my shoulders, look over the shoulder, I pick up this leg, and throw this leg out with the heel. From the side, if I can move things here, it's going to look something like this. Again, throwing it with my right leg, I'm going to turn. As I turn, I pivot my hips, turn my shoulders, I pick up the kicking leg, like I'm going to throw a front kick this way, but I'm going to look over this other shoulder, keep turning to the right, and throw it out back to the back, right here. So, in that sense, the position I get in almost looks kind of like a side kick. I almost try to focus on pointing my toes down toward the floor a little bit instead of sideways. So if you're looking at it, instead of like a normal side kick, it might look a little bit more like that. Kind of depends on the hips and how a person's built as far as whether they can get their toes pointing down. But that's sort of an emphasis. Also, I'm not swinging wide. So I'm not going to come around really wide like I'm throwing a side kick with a spin. One, it's easier to see this coming. Two, it's wider so it's easier to block. And three, it might not be as fast. Whereas if I keep it right in here, really, really tight and narrow, and just throw it straight out, by swinging my body like a pendulum, it'll come right out and hopefully land more effectively. Now, there are lots of drills we can do with this, and I'm going to try to show some of these drills in a future video when I have more space and maybe a partner to demonstrate with me. And that'll be really fun, but that'll come later. So when I show that narrow positioning, I'll switch legs here, keeping this leg in kind of tight when I turn. I'm not throwing it wide. If I have a wall here, I'll hit the wall. I'm just throwing it straight back, coming out, right? Well, a way to practice this, especially because if you're just a beginner, it takes time to learn this kick anyway. You probably won't have very good balance. Your coordination may not be perfect. It's never perfect. just get up on the wall like I've done before with other kicks. Just hold up here and just practice the motion and the position, just like with everything else. And when I do this, I'm going to act like a mule kicking in a stall. When I was first learning this kick, that's what my teacher taught me. He said, think about you're in a narrow stall and you can't swing out far to the side. You're kicking straight back. So I'm going to take this leg, come underneath, so the leg kind of comes under my hip. I throw it straight back. And I can lock it out and hold that, just like my other kicks. For my side kick, for my roundhouse kick, for my front kick, whatever, I'm holding it out there. Same thing here. So just so you guys can see the way the foot looks, from this side, I come up by the wall, throwing my heel back, locking it out, right? Or, if you needed to see it from here for some reason, just from the side, again, using the wall as the support, just focusing on getting good movement and good positioning with the kick. I come up, looking over the kicking shoulder. So if I'm kicking with my left leg, I'm looking over my left shoulder and coming back. Here. Swinging the leg under like a pendulum. And you can make modifications and come out a little wider later on, whatever. But this is a good basic way to get started with it. And once you're really comfortable with that, then you start once again working into the turn, where you can kind of start wide, step across, turn, kick, right? You can just play with that, step across, turn, kick, and just progress in terms of difficulty and balance and all of that. But that's the back kick, or the back piercing kick, or spinning back kick if you do the spin or the turn. So, like I said, borrow some elements from the side kick, and in practicing, we build on it with some of the same principles for practice and stability and everything that we do with our other kicks. So, wanted to share that. Going to be more to come. Soon enough, I'm going to start uploading some drills, some pad drills, some footwork drills, maneuvers, things you can do with a partner, with a friend, or if you train at a school with your classmates and training partners. So hopefully you found this useful. As always, leave any comments, any feedback, good or bad. Help me improve if you like what you're seeing, and there'll be more to come. Thanks.